without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker for tonight. And I have no notes on it, and I don't need notes. But she is the youngest senior director in all of Melaleuca. She then became the youngest executive director in all of Melaleuca. She absolutely, right now, is one of the best people, I believe, not only in Melaleuca, but as a human being, as a person, as inner values and cores that any leader would want to possess. She is also the best-selling author of Unleash Your Lady Boss, which I have the book up in my office. It is on my countertop. And when everyone asks me, who is that? I say that's one of my best friends, Stefanie Peters. And she is not only an inspiration to me, but thousands and thousands of others as well. She is also a President's Club winner. And that was, Stefanie, I believe that was last year?
Correct, yes.
Last year, out of all the events, out of all the President's Clubs that she could have been on, she picked the one with the most vigorous schedule and outdoorsy type of events that were going on. Instead of qualifying for like Kona or qualifying for, not Kona, but some of the ones that I've went on, Bora Bora, where you just sit on the beach and so forth. Stefanie, I don't know why you work so hard to drive Jeeps through the mud and
I don't either.
all of those things. But next time you've got to plan that better, dear.
I agree.
But one also multiple times on ELC, Executive Leadership Council, one of the fastest growing businesses in the company, one of the top 14 businesses in the year as a President's Club winner, one of the top executive directors in the company, because not only is she an executive director, not only executive 2, not only executive 3, but she is an executive director 4. And she is an unbelievable leader, not only through her team, but also through helping other people enhance their lives, even in other folks' organizations such as ourselves. Myself, Danny Torr, on behalf of the Time and Freedom team, and Sherry Lagana that could not had some internet problems. Stefanie, we are so privileged to have you here. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and for sharing your expertise. I'm going to turn the time over to you. Absolutely love you to death. And everyone take great notes. This is going to be a great training. And we already have 136 people on so far, Stefanie. So no pressure. Time is yours.
Wow. How do you even follow that introduction? I'm not quite sure. Might not live up to those expectations, but Jason, I have to say from day one, you know that you were the one, you and Maria Mosca were the two people in my life besides Mama P, my mom, that really believed in me. And I believe I am where I am today. A huge piece of that is because of you, Jason. I just appreciate your friendship, your mentorship, more so than anything else, just that kindred confidant. And I just, you mean the world to me. So thank you, Jason. And I just adore you and Danny, my Danny Torr. You guys are just absolutely precious in my life. And I just both treasure you forever and always. So thank you so much. And yes, I am so excited to be on here tonight. I'm going to just share my screen with you. Hopefully we can get this working. And actually what I'd love to do, Jason, is if people want to write in the chat box some of their questions as I go through this information so that we can open it up for like a Q&A afterwards, and you can just ask me some of those questions, because I think sometimes we can teach, but maybe don't quite hit the nail on the head. I think there's going to be some great information and some awesome takeaways that people can take away from this, but I definitely want to interact, make sure that I answer their questions. And then if you want to have a closing call to action and drive it home, I know that you're really good with logistics, and I love your type of training. Now, my training is not going to be exactly like Jason's training. I love his training, and he teaches technical, and I love that. He basically is going to tell you exactly what to do, and then you go after it and you do it, which I love. What I want to talk to you more about tonight, though, is mindset. because sometimes you can have all the right tools, all the right scripts, everything at your fingertips with the Time and Freedom team. Like, you guys have everything at your fingertips to make it happen. But sometimes we hit that stopping point where we're like, what is going on? What's wrong? Why can't I get out of my own way? And I want to talk to you tonight about fighting for your dream. I want you to take out a piece of paper and pen right now, and I want you to write down, what is your dream? What are those things that you wanted to do when you were younger, but maybe since life got busy, you've started to live by default? Our capacity to achieve has no limit if we dare to dream big dreams. I'm such a big advocate with my lady boss team, putting together vision boards, and sometimes guys poo-poo that, but I'll tell you, it's crazy how things come into fruition when you start seeing it on a daily basis. Do you want financial freedom? Do you want to send your kids to private school? Are you looking to buy that new car, that new boat, that new home? Do you want to change that address? Do you want to wake up and not feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much credit card debt? How would that feel? Do you really want to maybe do missionary work? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to write that book? Start that foundation. In order to really get to the point where you have that undying, I will do whatever it takes, you need to make sure that the dream is clear. And I'm sure you've heard this, that it's so important to have that vision, because where there is no vision, the people truly do perish. So if you know anything of a background on my story, I actually got started in this business at the age of 18. My parents were almost corporate director at that point. So people might think, oh my gosh, you absolutely had it made. Well, when you think about it, there are some chips that were stacked against me. I'm blonde, no prior business experience. My mom and dad had taken all my leads, and I was an introvert. And I was really excited about this business, but I was like, how do I go about it? How do I make it happen? So if you read my book, you'll soon find out that I was totally getting inside I couldn't get outside my head. The first 6 months I flatlined. I couldn't even develop my first director within the first 6 months. And my parents are corporate director. How do you think I felt at that point? But I had a dream. 6 months into the business, I'm like, something's wrong. Something is stopping me. And there were two things. I won't go in depth into my story because we don't have time, but I had to have a heart change. I had all these dreams of what I wanted to accomplish, but I had to marry my dreams right along with having a heart for other people. Because when it was all about me and it was all about my dreams, things didn't go very quickly. But when I had that heart shift and I had to come to Jesus moment, I had to make it about other people. So really, when my dreams and my visions expanded, what I truly wanted to do, it started out where I wanted to work by Wi-Fi. That was pretty much, I was like, I want to work my own hours. I want to be my own boss. I don't want anybody ever telling me when I'm going to work. Which was a great start to the why. But then I really thought about, what do I truly want to do when I am my own boss? I want to work my own hours. And then I really started dreaming about what was possible. And I thought, you know what, how cool would it be to be able to help write other people's stories? How neat would it be to, really breathe life and belief into people that they can do more, they can be more, they can live that God-given potential? How amazing would it be to have other people come to me and say, you know what, I was stuck, but because you believed in me, I was able to become a senior director. I was able to, I'm not fighting with my husband about finances so much. I was able to change the address. I was able to get rid of credit card debt. I became the leader that I always wanted to be, but I felt like there was that missing piece. So I really started to dream what was possible. So I wanted to start a movement. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to do speaking and really help people come into their own. And there were days that I questioned myself, my ability, but I kept putting one foot in front of the other. And I believe that that's what this business takes. Some people see, oh my gosh, look at how your life has just really come into an amazing place where you own 5 different properties thanks to Melaleuca with the real estate. You've written a book. You have total financial freedom. But man, you didn't see on the backside the sweat, blood, and tears that took me to get there. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. And it all has to do with mastering your mindset. I actually just got back from a mindset intensive, and it was actually a mastermind with a lot of like high level leaders. And thanks to Melaleuca, it gave me the financial freedom that even just a couple weeks ago, I flew out to Colorado. I did a speak off, really honing my skills as far as speaking goes. And I would have never had the financial freedom to do that if it weren't for this business. But I love the way that Tony Robbins says it. 80% of success is due to psychology, mindsets, beliefs, and emotions. And only 20% is due to strategy, the specific steps needed to accomplish a result. And that was really an aha moment for me when they actually talked about that even this last weekend. I felt like I knew that, but I thought, wow, if I can get out of my own way, 20% is strategy. Are you kidding? At the beginning of my business, I was so high about the business, and then I was so low about the business, and then I was in between, and I was all over the board. In a 24-hour period, oh my goodness, I was an emotional hot mess. But once I made the decision, that emotional drag, you guys, emotional drag can drain you. You will be feeling like you're doing a lot more work and you're actually not. I'm not any more talented than anyone else here on the Zoom. But what I decided to do, I just disciplined my disappointments, and I decided I wanted it more than the average Joe. Even I was devastated when one of my absolute best friends walked away from the business overnight. And most people would have stopped and just said, nope, it's too hard emotionally. But you have to make that decision that you're not going to let that person that stops strip you of your destiny, strip you of your dreams. And I even have a screensaver on my phone because I'm all about whatever is going on in your environment totally affects you. So make sure that it's positive. Make sure that it's uplifting. How bad do you want it? So here's kind of my mantra or my go-to whenever I'm having a day. You have to be your own biggest cheerleader and post those affirmations, post those goals around you. And I like to ask myself, are my thoughts serving me? So if they aren't, I say, okay, I gotta go bold. I gotta get out of my own way. Change the story you're telling yourself. So often, even just before I started Lady Boss Empire, I would say, oh my gosh, I'm not good with social media. I don't know what to say. What if I do it wrong? Like I was tripping all over myself. And finally, I decided one day when McKay Christensen at an ELC asked all of us, what is the one thing that if you mastered it, would make everything else easier? And I knew in an instant that if I would get good at social media, that would solve a lot of my problems, because I wanted to share my story. I wanted to share my heart, but I was nervous about what people would think. And so I got out of my own way and I started posting on social media and I started putting things out there, and I got some really, really great feedback. So in going bold, what I mean by that is burn the lies as to why you can't be successful. I remember thinking to myself, could I ever be a senior director? I even asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, do you really think I could be a senior director? And she's like, oh my gosh, you've got senior director all over you. But my opinion is not going to matter. You are the one that believes what you think more than anyone else. So you have to burn those lies. Actually, if you go to my Facebook page and you go to one of my last Facebook Lives, I actually burn the lies. It's kind of a fun Facebook Live, so if you want to go to that. But then, own your power. Even, especially if you're new in this business, sometimes you get a little bit nervous in the close, or you sometimes get a little bit nervous about, when you bring a business partner on board, maybe not bringing them on with a value pack. I'll tell you that don't ever step back, step into your power. I remember when Frank asked a room of senior directors when I was on the road to executive director, and he asked, raise your hand if you didn't get a value pack or home conversion pack when you got your business started. Not one person in the room raised their hand. And so I thought to myself, whoa, if not one senior director in that room didn't not get started with, that's a double negative. if no one in that room, if they all got started with value packs, then if someone tells me they want to hit senior director and I let them slip underneath the fence without a value pack, I'm not doing them justice as a coach. So really owning that power, you have what they're looking for. They just don't know it yet. So hold that posture. That's so important. And own your business. And then L, lead with heart and hustle. You need heart, but you need to hustle. Sometimes my heart can get like a little too big and I have to like rein it in. And then sometimes I hustle a little too much and I need to expand my heart. So having a combination between the two is crucial. And then D, dominate your doubts. I will tell you 110%, I can guarantee it on a stack of Bibles, doubts will come. You just have to decide that this is your time. I remember going to a networking group, and I was so nervous about putting myself out there. If anyone knew me at the beginning of my business, they knew I was not very extroverted. I was very introverted. Everyone else in my family is very extroverted, but if I had the chance on a Friday night to read a book and eat some popcorn or go out to a party, you better believe I'm eating some popcorn. And so I was like, okay, I have to put myself out there. I have to go to a networking event. So I Googled a networking event in the Twin Cities, and it was like early on a Monday morning. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to put myself out there. I need to do what Dale Carnegie teaches, form approach, form approach. F stands for family. You need to talk to people about their family. O stands for occupation. R stands for recreation. And then M stands for mission. And you're always asking your head, who can I help and how can I help them? So here I am, trying to put myself out there as confident, but feeling about as confident as a mouse. I walk into the event, so nervous. I'm like, Stefanie, you've got this. Just go through the form approach. So the first person I walk up to the desk is they're checking people in, and this guy, he's like, hey, good morning. Happy Monday morning. How are you? And I said, I'm great. And the first thing that popped out of my mouth, because I'm supposed to talk to someone about their family, is I asked, are you married? And his eyes got big and my eyes got big, and he looked at me and he looked at the guy next to him and he says, yeah, I'm married, but this guy isn't, and points over to the other guy and he waves at me, and I about turned probably every shade of red imaginable. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I went to the restroom and I came back out, and God must have a sense of humor, because I kid you not, the next 2 networking events that I went to within the coming weeks, I saw the guy that he pointed to. So, but when I went into the bathroom and totally wanted to disappear, I looked myself in the mirror and I'm like, you know what? It can't get much worse than this. So I kind of laughed it off. I went in there. I left early because I was so embarrassed, but I thought, you know what? Even in the overview, sometimes you got to do a bad overview to do a good overview, to do a great overview, to do a phenomenal overview. And people relate with ordinary. It's really important that you hone your skills, you become extraordinary, but don't ever lose that ordinary. You need that combination to really connect with people. And you're going to get your words all mixed up. There's going to be moments where you question yourself, but just as long as you keep that vision in front of you and keeping the main thing, and not letting the emotions get in the way, you will hit senior director. mark my words, and executive director, and as far as you want to go. Another key component is not only believing in yourself and becoming your biggest cheerleader, but believing in your team. I always wanted to be the mogul. I always wanted to be the one that just was drive, 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 and I wasn't really great at team building from the beginning. But that is a huge component of this business, and it's so much more fulfilling. You know, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. It's so important to believe in them, breathe that belief into them, help them not only believe that they can succeed, but also show them that you want them to succeed and that you have what it takes to help them. It was so awesome. Last night, as I was just, learning from Danny Torr last night, and just taking notes on what he was doing Sunday night check-ins with all of his team. And you better believe this guy has heart like nobody. He has such a big heart for people, and he just was breathing life and belief into his team. He's like, you know what? This last week, maybe it wasn't great for you, but you can do it. This is a whole new week. And he just was breathing belief into them. And his team knows that he has a vested interest in their success because he is the real deal. Show it to them. Put together a plan for success. Verbalize it to them. People need to hear that you believe in them. Affirm it. Confirm when you see that you see success in them, that they can do it. When my mom breathed that belief into me, when even Danny, when he breathed belief into me, and Maria Mosca and Jason Fisher, when Jason said, you totally have everything that it takes to get to executive director, I didn't even believe that I could get to executive director. But as the more and more that I heard that from people around me, I started to believe it myself. I didn't start with a big team. And if you're on this call tonight and you're like, man, I'm having a hard time really trying to develop leadership, you know what? It's a part of the process. I started out with 1 to 2 customers that really weren't all that interested, but I took them to director. And then I found a couple of their customers that wanted to go director. I helped them, and I started to meet with them. I started to form a small team, and it wasn't anything fancy, but consistency compounds. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. So like, let's say June, a lot of times what happens with June, the first week in June, we're out of that now, so that's great. But with dollar enrollment, sometimes, this is not all the time, but sometimes you can get dollar hangover, and you're kind of like knocking on the door of your friend's door, and you're like, do you still want to be working this business? Or you get dollar dropout, where a lot of people drop out. Just know that's a part of the cycle. That's okay. Lesson release it. You know what? Today it's Monday. It's a brand new week, but you aren't going to solve your problems by staying in your own head. You have to get into personal activity, and personal activity, I promise you, it cures all issues. Focus on what you can control. And I learned this from Jason. The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack, and that needs a C. Your teammates will do half of what you do. How fast do you want to grow? You got to hustle and make it happen, because it's crazy. Even in my own career, as soon as I take my foot a little bit off the gas, it's like they can sniff it before it happens. And so you want to keep your head mentally engaged to the business. And, even the definition of an entrepreneur, it's a person who's willing to launch a new venture and accept full responsibility for the outcome. It's not your support team. It's not the products. It's not the compensation plan of why you aren't succeeding. It's sometimes hard to swallow, but you have to look yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself, what is the disconnect? What is the thing that I am missing in order to go to that next level? And, there's 2 different types of mindsets. There is a fixed mindset, And then there's a growth mindset. The fixed mindset says, oh, I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at marketing. I don't have the type of experience that Jason has. You know, Danny's so good with people. No, you have to say, you know what? Success leaves clues. And maybe I don't have the people skills that Danny has yet, but I can get them. Or, you know what, maybe I'm not great on social media. Maybe I need to take a course. Maybe I just need to learn from someone that has the skills that I am missing, and I can succeed. I will succeed. It's just a matter of time. Your success or failure in this business is your responsibility. You create your destiny. So let's get real. Your ability to advance in status is directly related to your personal activity. So I want you to write this down. How many people have you personally enrolled in the last 30 days, the last 60 days, and the last 90 days? And then I also want you to write down how many personal directors have you developed? And have you developed a director 3 or more? If you haven't enrolled a good number of customers in the last 30, 60, or 90 days, and you're questioning if this business works, it's not a matter of if it works. It's just a matter of if you're doing the right activities. And the exciting thing about getting your mojo back and roaring now, if you really put your head down and really focus on the vision, marry the process and divorce the results, then at that point, if you can do that, I'll tell you, it's 90 days, it's the 90-day delay. What you did 90 days ago, it's going to either flatline you or it's going to create massive momentum. So if you put your head down now, you are creating massive momentum for this fall. But you really have to just have that open communication and be honest with yourself. Either you change the goal or you change the activity. So secret to success, let's say you want to hit senior director. You really have to focus in on the daily mode of operation, or the AKA the success cycle. On my way to senior director, if I wanted to get there in the time frame that I had set out to get there, I knew that I had to enroll 8 preferred customers a month. No ifs, ands, or buts, because that's what I had to do in order to create that momentum to get there in the time period that I set for myself. So then I thought, okay, I need to do the 4-2-1 principle. I need to set 32 appointments to get 16 to show up, to have 8 to enroll. But because my goal was so important to me, I just didn't call 32 people to set 32 appointments. I had to keep calling until I hit the numbers. So here's 5 steps to crush it constantly. So if you want to maybe take a picture of this with your phone so you have this to check in on, this really has set me up for success. I have done this for years, and I'm so thankful that I decided early on in the game that I was going to do this. So number 1, set monthly goals. Those leadership celebrations are a great place to set those monthly goals and set them with your team. I liked what Jason does and Danny does. They actually have a whiteboard saying, okay, here's my first builder, here's my second builder, here's my third builder, and then writing down what all their goals are, writing what their own goals are, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So I like that idea. I'm actually pulled out my whiteboard to start doing that because I haven't done that much. Number 2, a weekly review every Sunday night. I did it or just yesterday. Plan, do, review, because unfortunately, even when we set goals, we don't always accomplish them. So you plan, do, review. Hey, you know what? Last week maybe it wasn't fabulous. You know what? It's a whole new week.
Sometimes I think of that, Scott. I don't know if you do, but I don't think my life would be so great. You know, I'm sitting here in Cold Harbor,
every single morning, no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, every once in a while, I'll slip up on one of these 3, but you can almost guarantee that every morning I will have my devots in prayer.
Everything's possible. I think more importantly than all this is the amount of lives that we can enhance during our journey of getting to where we all want to go. It's what we can do indirectly for those that are even maybe not even in our team. I think that's really where the power
almost every single morning at 6 a.m. My brother and I go to the gym together,
for every single person that is starting to see that their goals are becoming a reality with
the rest of the day. And then number 4, power hours. I think it's so important to shut off maybe the Wi-Fi, shut off the email, shut off the pings. When you do a power hour, when you're making your phone calls, it's so easy to get sidetracked, but when you can really put your head down and make it happen at 50-minute increments and then take 10 minutes to get up and move, your brain can only focus on something for so long. So that's been a huge key to my success, and for my team as well. And then have an accountability team. Maybe it's your regional, it's your support team, it's a friend. I do daily text with my mom. She shares with me, hey, this is what I've done, and then I give her daily text of what I've done. Where iron sharpens iron, you have to have that accountability in place, because let's say you set those monthly goals the first of the month, you stash it in a corner, and then you come to the next leadership celebration and you're like, yeah, I kind of wanted to do that, didn't I? But when you have your feet to the fire with your regional, with those weekly check-ins or daily accountability with your support team, that makes all the difference in the world. So the long and the short of what vision is, it starts with a dream, and the dream becomes a vision, and with massive action, it becomes the reality. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision. Great vision provides great achievement. Every team needs a compelling vision to give it direction. A team without a vision is, at worst, purposeless. So it's so important to cast a vision for yourself. I have a vision board for myself. I also have a vision board for my team. So cast a vision that others can join and be a part of. I love this by Walt Disney. If you can dream it, you can do it. Always remember that this whole thing was started with a dream and a mouse. So here's my call to action for you guys tonight. Set your goal. Choose your accountability partner who you're going to text on a daily basis. Set up your daily mode of operation, go to work, and have a blast, and fight for your dreams. So I'm going to end with what Raphael a lot of times says, why not you? Why not now? There are going to be things that come up. There's going to be different things where you're like, oh my gosh, that totally went different in my head. I thought I was going to be getting to senior director faster. I thought I was going to be enrolling this person. This person said they were going to do it and they never did. Don't worry about it. Bless and release it. Dream big dreams, because small dreams have no magic. Now this summer, you've got an option. Will you make it an excuse to take a back seat, or will you make it an opportunity to rise up and jumpstart your business and change your game? It's the 90-day delay, guys. So I would totally love to open it up with Q&A. Jason, if you have any questions for me, or if you want to expound on anything that I talked about, and yes, we can go from there.
Well, Stefanie, that was amazing. 207 participants still here on our Zoom cast. So awesome, 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 awesome.
Wonderful.
You know, those are some powerful words that you shared. And I think really, it's really just working through whatever is happening at that point in your life. We're all going to have circumstances. It's just who deals with those circumstances that really plays a part in how they're going to succeed and move forward in their life. And you know, you've had circumstances, I've had circumstances, Danny Torr and a lot of other leaders here that are on the Time and Freedom team, executives and national and corporate directors. But successful people all seem to have that one thing in common, which is the ability to move forward even when it's not easy to move forward. And I think that's something that you have possessed, and so many other people have as well, that have built huge organizations here. I think one of the things that, here's the question, Stefanie, how do you determine, and that training was amazing, Stefanie, absolutely amazing. How do you determine who to work with? Because you are a director of, a developer of directors and beyond. You're a pro at it. You develop leadership, you develop directors consistently. Some directors work, some directors don't work out. If you haven't had all a director that hasn't went sideways, don't worry. You'll have one or two that happens to. But Stefanie, what would you suggest if someone is in the business, they maybe got 20, 30 enrollments, maybe they're having a hard time developing directors, as you said, your first 6 months. What was that changing point for you? Was it fishing in different pools? Was it your posture? Was it you being more strong during the presentation on the opportunity piece? What does that look like? A few people are texting me on my phone. What was that defining moment? What was that? When did you transition into going from having a hard time developing leadership to doing that as a second nature now?
So a couple of different things. Number one, it definitely was prospecting up. It was definitely getting outside my comfort zone, because I was at first approaching all my friends that were in high school, and you know how well that worked. They lasted for about 2 hot seconds. So it was definitely prospecting up. But another piece of it was in the overview, I really had to get good at painting the vision on what it could do for them. Because then once I painted that picture of what it could do for them, people are asking 3 questions in their head when they're in the overview sitting across the table from you. Number 1 is this real? Can I do it? And is the person sitting across the table able to take me to the promised land? Do they have what it takes to get me to my goals? And if they say yes to all 3 things, they are going to say yes to the business. So from there, once I got better at painting that vision and picture of what it could do for them, I asked a lot of questions in the overview, especially in the compensation plan, before I just jumped in, because I'm the type of girl where I'll just like mow through the overview and they're like at 90 miles an hour and they're like, what just happened? So I really had to connect with them on the heart level of what their dreams and goals were. And then once I did that, then they were like, oh my gosh, I totally want to work with you. So that was the first thing, creating that vision for them, or helping them to see how this vehicle could help them to reach their goals. But then as far as developing directors and leadership and beyond, now this is a little bit of hand holding, and you can tell me what you do, Jason, because I'm sure you probably don't do this, but at the beginning of my business, I wanted to hit seniors so bad that I would actually sit down with them. We would go through the strategy session. I'd give them a couple of different approaches. And before I'd sit down for a strategy session, they either had to get started with a value pack or home conversion pack, and they had to have their contact list. They had to have at least 25 people on their contact list. I obviously wanted more. I would start saying 100, but then people would get nervous about that. So then I kind of settled for 50. And if they'd show up with 25, I'd be like, okay, well, we'll start with here, but we'll keep growing it from here. So then once the strategy session was done, I wouldn't consider it a true strategy session that was successful until I helped them get on the phone. I would coach them on 5 phone calls. I would just say, hey, you know what? We're going to make 5 phone calls when we're here. And so who's the first person on your list? And so at first they'd get really nervous and be like, I don't want to call this person or that person. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to help you as a coach, help you to make these phone calls so that you get the results that you're looking for. So let's practice. So who's the first person on your list? Okay, it's my mom. Okay, so tell me about your mom. What would she be most attracted to? Like the consumer aspect, the business aspect? Oh, the business aspect. Okay, so you're going to be you. I'm going to be your mom. You're going to practice on me, so that they get some practice underneath their belt. And then I would say, okay, are you feeling comfortable? And if they said yes, I'd say, okay, you can get on the phone. Let's make that first phone call. So that was a ton of hand holding, but I developed a lot of directors 2, directors 3, by doing it that way. Now I don't do the hand holding as much because I'm really looking to prospect up the type of people that have had MLM type of experience or direct selling experience, because you don't have to train them as much, and then all bets are off. They can kind of go off on their own. You can lead them, you can guide them. So did that answer your question, Jason?
Without a doubt. Awesome. Someone also mentioned, and I think this is important to bring up, Stefanie. Someone mentioned that, I financially was in a point that when I started in my business, that if it wasn't for the dollar enrollment, if it wasn't for being able to order 35 product points, that I literally could not have started Melaleuca. And they just wrote on under our question and answers here that they just reached director. And they're being told in their support team that, you know, if they don't order a value pack or home conversion pack, they're not going to be successful. And I know there's a tug of war with that conversation, you know, that people have. But as I know, and as you know, 19 out of every 20 directors started with a value pack or home conversion pack. Now, that's not saying that it's 19 out of 20, right? So that means someone did without getting a pack. I want the person that asked that question, I want you to feel empowered. You have to start where you needed to start. I mean, there are people that say they can't get started with a pack, and it's really just a matter of them wanting to dip their toe in the water. And it's really not that they couldn't have got the pack, but they just, you know, they could have got the pack, but they didn't because they just wanted to kind of test it. If you are that person that truly, there was no way humanly possible to do that, I want you to still feel empowered. Melaleuca is not about putting folks in a bad spot, but we just know that when we tie in people and we plug people in with the products, and we know that they can show people the products and they can talk from confidence, that the success and the ratios of success are that much higher with those that get a value pack or a home conversion pack. So does that mean if you don't, that you're not going to ever be successful? No, you already are a success. You just hit director, and we congratulate you on that. Stefanie, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, because I guess that's where some people is. I find that most people that say they can't get a value pack or home conversion pack, it's not that they can't. It's kind of like if me and you, Stefanie, we have a whole home of children, and we're struggling parents, and our fridge broke down or the tire got flat. Somehow, some way we figured it out, right? I mean, that anybody would. Otherwise, the food's going to go bad, or we're not going to be able to get the kids to school, or we're not going to be able to get to a job. We figure it out. So you just have to find out, when people really say that, is it a matter of the excuse of just wanting to just kind of test it, or is it really truly the circumstances? Melaleuca gives you the month of enrollment and the following month to order the value pack or home conversion pack, for all of you that don't know that, so that you can experience one of those options. I think the most important thing to it, it's not just a matter of getting the pack, and Stefanie, I want your thoughts on this. It's what you do duplicates. I think it's a pretty normal thing that people ask, well, hey, how'd you get started? So it makes it really tough for the presenter to fight the obstacle that the person that invited the person didn't even do that. Now, if you are that person, and I'm talking to you right now, if you are that person that did not get the value pack or home conversion pack, and you literally could not, it was not an option at all, zero, you're in that 1 or 2 percentile, okay, that it just could not happen. And there's a lot of people that can fall into that 1 or 2 percentile. So I'm not just saying just you. Here's what my story would be. Listen, I got started this way. It was the only way I possibly could. But as I started to go to events and I started to see the success, I realized that 19 out of 20 people really did get started with the pack. And here are the benefits, blank, 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 blank. And if you go to the Time and Freedom Team Getting Started Steps in the strategy session, we go over all the benefits of the value pack home conversion pack. We're not going to go over that right now. But you need to let them know that that is the place that they need to start. And some might say, well, just say that you got it even though you didn't. I don't think that that's going to serve you. I think the truth is good enough, but I think the story, when people ask me which pack did I get started with, Stefanie, I tell them the value pack. And I have to go through a whole conversation of why I didn't get the home conversion pack, because it never was presented to me. But if I had the option of doing it all over again, I would have done the home conversion pack. But I don't just say the home conversion pack, because that's not the truth. The truth is I got the value pack. So whatever the truth is, I think you need to say that. But then I also think you need to, through that story, teach the correct principle of why they'd want to start that way. Steph, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but someone wrote a really long paragraph regarding that. And I think it was important to answer that.
Absolutely. Well, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't really know if there's much that I could expound on that. I know that there are some people that do just fall on dire circumstances, and there's nothing that you can do about that. But I would really even challenge you to think about, and then I want to be really careful with this, because there's people I haven't walked in your shoes, so I don't want this to come down in a wrong way. Know my heart in this. But, you know, even being born in the U.S., we could have been born anywhere else, but I believe we've been given a gift to be born in the land of opportunity. And so maybe you're in this spot right now, but I would really challenge you to, you know, there's so many places where you could just get like a part-time job. Like I remember on my way to senior director, I actually went and worked for $30 an hour randomly to supplement my income as I was building it on my way to senior director as a brand ambassador. Like I was passing out craisins the day after Thanksgiving for Black Friday. Did I want to be there? Well, actually it was kind of fun. I was doing it with some friends, but there was other times where I had to make those sacrifices because I wanted to be in a good financial spot. So it was that short-term sacrifice for that long-term gain. So I don't know your situation. I don't know where you're at, but I would really even think about challenging your own thoughts. Can I totally not afford it? Or did I go and buy some pizza? Or did I go and buy maybe some decorations for the house? Or did I maybe go buy something else? Or maybe you are in that place where you don't have any money in the bank. Well, maybe there's some things around your house that you can sell on Craigslist. Like trying to be resourceful. I think it's so important to really challenge what you're telling yourself. So that's just my 2 cents, but I have not walked in your shoes. So if that's the best that you can do at that time, kudos to you. Congratulations for hitting director.
Absolutely. A few other things. Let's go through this quick. Let's give each one of these about 30 seconds, Steph. How about we do that? We'll try to do it. So Christine says, what is your 30-second commercial at a networker meeting, a networker BNI or a meetup or something like that?
It all depends on my demographic in the room. It's going to be very different for a 50-year-old guy audience to a young 20-something audience. If I'm in a room with an average of a 50-year-old guy, I'm going to say I'm a marketing rep for an Inc. 500 company. I open up wholesale accounts and I collect a residual on them. That's what I'll say in that demographic. If I am in a younger demographic with a lot of new moms, I say I help moms create wellness on a budget. If I'm in a room of like women's empowerment, I will talk about Lady Boss Empire and how this feeds into that. So it all depends on my demographic. I want to feel the room, and it's not about me. I want to be asking them more and more questions, but if it's in a quick surefire, I won't even take 30 seconds because I don't care. I want to know about them.
Great. So Caitlin says, hello, Stephanie. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're an inspiration. Read your book 3 times. Can you give me some quick tips on how you're networking with new friends on Facebook, where you're finding them? Are they coming to you? Are you finding them? Thank you. Caitlin, I'm going to say that Stephanie Peters did an entire Facebook training, social media in the back office of Time and Freedom team. So definitely under the lead generation systems, you can have Stephanie's full training on that. Okay?
Perfect. So, thank you so much, Caitlin. I'm so honored. I'm cheering you on, girlfriend.
Okay. 10 seconds for me, 10 seconds for you, Stephanie. Becky says, tips for getting unstuck. Yeah, so here's how you get unstuck. You start prospecting like a maniac within the time frame that you have put aside to build this business. You do the uncomfortable until it gets comfortable. And that's what I would say for getting unstuck. I don't believe that there's getting unstuck. I believe that there's a lack of consistency that would make someone stuck. So get consistent, and that's just going to be a natural process that takes care of itself.
So good. Yeah, go out to a networking event. Get out of your own way. Get out of your own head. Get out of your own house. Because I know when I stay at my house, I'm questioning, why isn't this working? And it's like, well, you have been doing the right activities. So exactly right, Jason.
Yeah. Okay. Someone says, I want to do so much, but I have 3 kids that age 4 and under. I feel so overwhelmed. I strive for more, but I know my kids need me just as much. How do I manage?
What I would recommend, what my mom and dad did with me when they first got their business started, they sat us down, and I know that they're younger, they're a little bit younger, so they might not quite understand this, but they sat us down and they said, you're going to see a handful of more babysitters. You're going to be with your nanny more. There's going to be a lot of time where we're not going to be with you in this next year. But when we hit senior director, we're going to Disneyland. And so that we were on the same page. We were cheering them on. Even when they were at home at night, we'd be like, get out of the house. We want to go to Disneyland. So everyone had to get on the same page in order to make that happen. With them being so young, do what you can. Zoom is a great tool. Facebook is a great place to network, even in nap times, things like that. It's just little nooks and crannies of the day. Take advantage of those times. And it's amazing what that consistency day after day will do.
Without a doubt, I agree. Tony says, how do you bless and release a no longer performing builder who is clearly not coachable and you find it hard to give up on? You want it so much for them, don't want it more than them, Tony.
Oh, man.
Bless and release quickly.
That is so hard. I will tell you, as my heart has gotten bigger, that's gotten harder. Jason was just having this conversation with me, and I totally needed to hear it. Thank you, Jason. But you need a kick in the butt from Jason Fisher. He'll tell you how to bless and release them quickly. It's hard when you care so deeply about your friends and you see that potential inside of them, but you can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. You can't push a rope. I pray about it. I just pray, Lord, I pray, I bless and release them. And if it's really meant to be, they're going to find a way. And I just pray that they would get out of their own way. But yeah, that's a hard thing, but I commit them and just, I don't have a super great answer. You just have to say, you know what? I love you, but onward and upward.
Absolutely. So let's go to the next one. John, did you do more face-to-face presentations or was it a lot online with the overviews given? Which do you think worked better? We'll move through these really quick, Steph. Okay. So John, obviously face-to-face, if possible, I think is always good, eyeball to eyeball. But if they're long distance, I would do webinars. But if they're somewhere local I can meet, that's what I would do. Anything you want to add?
I agree. I agree 110%. The other thing is Zooms are great because you can see them. They can see you. They're not playing on their phone. I want to make sure that I'm connecting with them. That's made all the difference in the world with my closing rates at the end. I don't do like any other types of things than Zoomcasts now because I want to see at them and eyeball them.
Yeah. Irina says, can you show the slide with the 4-2-1 principle again?
Let me go back to that. Let's see, right there.
Okay. So guys, it's 32 appointments, 16 show up, and 8 will enroll, right?
Yep.
32-16-8. Exactly. All right. And Linda, I had the training in the beginning and they took the time because I'm sure I'm struggling right now. Thanks. Wow. I wish I had that training in the beginning. Well, great, Linda, you've got that training now. So let's focus on what we can do now. Next one is, hello everyone. I'm new to Melaleuca. I'm looking to build my business with Melaleuca. How do I start my business? So plug into Time and Freedom Team and you will have everything that you need there. Everyone's saying thank you. I mean, we've got so many. Stephanie, we love your social media training.
Thank you.
Is this recorded? Yes, this will be on Time and Freedom Team Facebook, and it also will be also in the back office. Thanks for the class. Is this recorded? Yes. Ever do virtual in-homes? Yes, very good. We've been able to do those pretty well with Zoom, which is kind of cool. So I think we're going to end there. Okay, Danny. Well, Stefanie, first of all, I want to say thank you. I mean, this was absolutely awesome. This was absolutely amazing. This was probably one of the best trainings that we've had on the Time and Freedom team. We're not just saying that because you're on. You know, maybe Danny would say that, but I sure wouldn't say that. And this was really that good. Danny, I don't know if you agree. This was definitely one of the best ones if people want to get out of their own self, out of their own way, if they're stuck. And I thought this was awesome.
Oh, well, Jason, thank you so much for helping me get out of my own head. And I'm so thankful for you in my life. And thank you for all your training and just your wisdom and genius. So thank you. I just appreciate it.
Oh, you're awesome. Danny, anything you want to add, Dan?
Stefanie, I just want to thank you. I know that this is about as real as it gets. And I love listening to your trainings and I love going over all your teachings. And it still to this day is helping me with my business. And I can't wait to get this posted so everybody can listen to it again. And you have to come back to New York again, Rose.
Oh, thank you, Danny. Love you both so much.
And just as a final, before we all go, Danny, if you can we have, which I think is awesome, we have the largest team system Facebook group, the Time and Freedom team. I mean, Danny, how fast is it growing now?
Oh boy, we're growing. Well, last week we hit 6,000 and now we're up to 6,123. So we're growing like a weed. And it's really, really exciting. And everybody should bring their new team members onto the site and let us welcome everybody. It's a community about recognizing and celebrating success. It's growing really fast, Jay.
And Danny, if someone finds, this is a question, if someone finds somebody in the group that's pretending, because it is a closed group, pretending to be a marketing executive to prospect for another company, what should they do? Besides asking for their address, pretending they're interested in like an oil company and then going there and blowing up their home. Besides that, what, that was a joke. Because I don't want to be this, because this is being recorded. So if anybody actually goes out and I don't want to be held reliable, responsible. So Danny, what on serious matter, what should people do in that scenario? Should they send an email? Can they kick someone off? I don't know how it works.
There's a screening process that we go through before anybody's actually allowed on here. They have to be invited by somebody who's already a member. And if they're not invited and they just request to be on, they have to answer 2 questions. Who's their support line? Who's their enroller? Or they have to have many mutual friends in the site. But unfortunately, people do slip through the cracks. And if that happens and you see something inappropriate, you can flag the comment and you just go to the top right, you'll see the arrow and you can click report the comment. And then we will get an email and we'll immediately review it and take it down. Unfortunately, we do get that. It doesn't happen a lot, but we are taking comments down, and we do that to protect everybody and their team on the site. So
and listen, Danny, it's by nature, it's only going to become more and more as the team grows, because just from the mere fact with numbers. So that's good. So you actually can report it, and then the Time and Freedom team, folks that are, the Facebook, which Danny's heads that up, he runs the whole thing. He'll be notified or whoever else, Dan, that's helping you with that, and then that will be reviewed. So that's good to know that you can flag that, everybody, okay?
Yeah, absolutely, Jay. And of course, everybody just make sure when you're bringing people on that they do let us know who invited them, and then everything else is great. We want to recognize them. We want to celebrate the success. We want them to have everything available to them as well. And Jay, just a quick heads up. We've been on Monday, not only do we have this amazing training, and again, thanks Stefanie, but prior to this, we have our live Facebook Power Hour, and that is scheduled every Monday before this training. We're going to be breaking on the scheduled live Power Hour for the summer, but we're still going to be doing them sporadically through the month, and we will be posting that on Facebook as well. But that's going to be taking a little bit break on just the scheduled time due to us scheduling and traveling around and doing meeting with people in different parts of the country.
Awesome. Well, guys, as a last, just make sure that you are attending the advanced events that are coming up in all different times and areas. Please review the back of your Leadership in Action magazine for the upcoming advances that are taking place all over the country, which is really awesome. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the advances that are coming up. Again, you can find that information at melaleuca.com/advance or in the back of your Leadership in Action magazine. On behalf of myself, Executive Director 5, Danny Torr, Executive Director 4, Stefanie Peters, and all the other executive, nationals, seniors, executives, and corporate directors that are a part of the Time and Freedom team, thanks for all your participation. We couldn't have done it without you. And everyone have a wonderful day, and we will see you next week. Take care.